In this short video, we'll be looking at economic sectors. So we'll start off by looking at the meaning of primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors, and then we'll see where the UK's production fits into each of these sectors. We're also going to be looking at the difference between a good and a service. Goods and services are similar in that consumers consume them and producers produce them, but beyond that they are slightly different. Goods refer to tangible items that you can buy, things that you can actually hold, such as cars or pencils. Services, on the other hand, are mostly intangible activities carried out by other people that consumers can then pay to, access, or benefit from, such as car repairs, or education, or healthcare. These aren't necessarily tangible items, but rather they are activities that consumers pay to access. So with that in mind, let's now look at economic sectors. Economies and industries are often classified into different sectors depending on the types of goods that they produce. And there are three main sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. So starting off with the primary sector. Primary sector industries are involved in the extraction of raw materials from the earth. Examples of these include mining, forestry, and fishing. Secondary sector industries involve converting these raw materials produced in the primary sector into finished and semi-finished goods. So examples of secondary sector activities include manufacturing, construction, and processing. For example, oil refineries are classed as secondary sector organizations, as they separate the crude oil extracted from the ground into different components that can be used in many ways, such as fuels or heating oils. Tertiary sector industries involve providing services to individuals and businesses. Examples include banking, transport, marketing, tourism, and gardening. Linking back to the slide on goods and services, we can see that primary and secondary sector industries tend to focus on the production of goods, whereas tertiary sector businesses tend to focus on the production of services. No country splits production equally between primary, secondary, and tertiary industries. Rather, the sizes of these industries depends on the stage of development the country in question is at. Let's take the UK as an example. Before the Industrial Revolution, many people worked on and lived off the land, making their living from agricultural activities. The Industrial Revolution then brought in a wave of technological advancements that fueled the secondary sector. However, further advancements in technology, coupled with increased international competition in secondary sector industries, for example from East Asian countries such as China and Vietnam, caused many developed countries such as the UK to decide to specialize in the tertiary sector, for example in banking and insurance. From the two diagrams on this slide, we can summarize the state of each sector in both developing and developed countries. Note that this is only a generalization, and so there may be exceptions to this rule. Developing countries tend to have a declining primary sector, a booming secondary sector, and tends to see slow growth of the tertiary sector as well. Developed countries, on the other hand, see a small or very quickly declining primary sector, a declining secondary sector. This happens when the country passes the point of deindustrialization, and they will see a large growth of the tertiary sector. Here's a news article relating to this topic. Coffee farmers struggle to adapt to Colombia's changing climate. Thank you very much for listening.